This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz. So excited to be speaking with Vincent D'Onofrio about Daredevil Born Again. How are you, Vincent?
I'm good. Well, how are you?
Good. What is it like getting to reprise a character so many years after first playing them?
Oh, it's great. It's exactly what Charlie and I wanted. Initially we got called to do, he went and did little thing on in Spider-Man, and I went and did a little thing on Hawkeye, and then a little thing on Echo. But our whole goal was to start back up with where we left off with the original series. So here we are in our second season, which is awesome. We're shooting our second season now.
Oh, that's great. How do you feel that you've changed as an actor in that time?
Um, it's everything is a growth. Like every show that I do is every movie that I get or part that I try and help service a story with or whatever. So it's always something new. You're constantly learning how to do this job. It's crazy. It just sort of never ends. Um, each thing is a challenge, and you got to figure it out, and hope for the best. That's always the thing to just keep, you know, stay committed, keep both fingers crossed, and hope that everybody gets it, kind of thing.
Well, I love the premise and setup of this show, the idea that, they both want something or rather don't want something from the other and need to make sure that it happens, that we're sort of building over the course of the entire first season towards that. And I think that, Fisk really does have he doesn't really think he's the bad guy. Do you see that for him?
Well, he doesn't consider himself a bad guy at all. No, I mean he knows that he's really good at wielding power. He knows that he's trying to expand his stretch of control over New York and then some. And yeah, but he doesn't see himself as a bad guy. He sees himself as somebody who's going to save New York and more.
There are there's so many subtle little nods to the way that he's trying to be a leader, like when he has the picture under his sandwich where he's trying to threaten somebody, and other times where he goes and he said, I am approving these permits just by being here. And it's interesting to see that, like, somebody moving from an industry where you can get things done just by declaring it so, to somewhere where politics maybe should be holding you back in some ways from doing the things that are just tipping you over the line.
Yeah, checks and balances. Yeah, he doesn't. He's not big on those.
Well, seeing the finale, I think the explosion is the right word, but specifically the very physical violence that he is, displaying to everybody. This is not a show that has ever shied away from violence, but I
No.
still think the manner of execution with his bare hands is probably one of the more extreme things we've seen on this show. And it's just so interesting to me because, again, I think he's trying to project this image of power. And while he certainly can be threatening, there's also a lack of control that comes from being willing to just, pop a person like that with your bare hands.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's his MO. Like it's his thing. Like it's been around for years in the comics. He's very hands on. He's a good fighter. He's very, very strong, and I think he prefer to use his hands than a weapon. To really get in there and make his point.
And
Unfortunately.
of course, Matt, taking a bullet for him is a pretty big deal, which I think they sort of have an unspoken agreement despite what they've spoken about. But I would still love to see a physical face off between the two of them at some point.
Yeah, there's a lot coming.
What can you preview without getting either of us in trouble just about
That's
the
I
tone and
just said
approach of
the only
that's
sentence I can say. I
so
can add a little more. I guess it's where we leave off is definitely where we begin, and things are getting tough for his plan and for Daredevil, and for Fisk's plan and for Daredevil's plan. So it's gonna come to a head in a major way.
having, 2 seasons set right off the bat is obviously a really great thing, just especially in today's TV landscape. Is this it? Like, is it a contained story and we're done at the end of season 2, or is there a possibility there'll be more after that?
If they allow us to continue, we have a plan. Yeah,
That's great.
yeah. It's
Well,
up to the fans, to watch and to get excited, and it's us for us to please them and get the story right. But it's all, yeah. I mean, we're looking forward in a big way.
as you mentioned, you were on Echo and Hawkeye, and Charlie's been in stuff. How tapped into and knowledgeable about the Marvel Cinematic Universe do you feel personally?
I'm pretty good. My sons are better than me, but I'm pretty good. Uh, if not, I have all of the material I need to find out, to look something up. I'm 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 darn good with the Daredevil stuff, and as far as the history of our show and I'm very familiar with the relationship between Daredevil and Fisk, and Matt and Fisk, and um, so yeah, I'm knowledgeable about that. As far as the overall canon, I would say it takes younger people to understand that better than me. But you know, I work for the company, so I can always ask questions.
I was going to say, based on the interconnected nature of the universe and the love for cameos and different projects, is there a particular hero, villain, or team or something that you would love to just pop in to interact with briefly?
Well, I mean, I would love for them to get the rights thing figured out with Sony, so that I can start doing the films too. I think that will eventually happen. I don't know when or anything about how they're going about it, or if they're even going about it. I have no idea, but I can't imagine they won't figure out something eventually. We'll see.
Well, I know that this is not your first time being part of a very popular franchise, and I'm curious how Marvel fans compare to Law and Order fans.
Well, a lot of them have crossed over with me to the Daredevil stuff, so I appreciate that very much. No, that character Robert Gorin, was a very particular character. People liked him a lot, and he was sort of a mess himself. But he always truly represented good, and so where he went really far sometimes to make it clear that he represented good. And so it's a different, such a different show, and it's hard to. I think that's a question for the fans. Really, that's actually a very good question. I'd like to know what the Criminal Intent fans feel about about the Daredevil stuff, but Kingpin stuff. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I hope they're enjoying it. I know a lot of them from social media that were fans of Criminal Intent love the show, so that's good.
Obviously, there's plenty of criminal intent on this show, so it's a good evolution from, someone working
Sure.
to get those people to now someone who could be the prime target.
Yeah. Yeah.
How has the just working in television changed between, from that show to this show, just how everything works technology wise, distribution, everything else?
Well, the hours are better these days. Like, they don't work people like they used to. Like, they stay in the 12, 13-hour a day area rather than, 17 hours or whatever they feel like doing on the day. I think that's just torture for people, and they shouldn't do that anymore. And I'm glad that most streaming companies don't do that anymore. I know that Marvel we have very strict rules about how much we're going to work, and how many hours we're going to work and stuff like that. We stick to it so we don't kill the crew and everybody involved, all the creatives involved. So I think it works better. I think you get more done than you do when you work long hours, because everybody's rested.
Well, as soon as I knew I'd be talking to you, I immediately flashed back to what I think is probably an underseen work from your credits, which is also one of the lesser known Philip K. Dick stories, Impostor. I
Yeah,
thought that was just a really, because I think that was right around the time Minority Report came out, which obviously Minority Report was a big thing. But there just
yeah.
is still something that haunts me about that film. What are your memories of it?
Well, it was a short first, you know, and there's scenes from the short in the movie. No, it all started originally with just Gary and I and Gary Fleeter, the director, and Gary Sinise and I, and doing this short together. Gary and I Sinise and I knew each other already. I had done this very popular uh, what was it called? Homicide: Life on the Street. This very popular one episode that I did with them, and Gary directed that, so I knew Gary, and so I knew them both. And Gary wanted to make this short, so we went and made the short. The short turned out great, and Gary wanted it. Gary tried. Sorry, Gary. The short turned out great, and Gary tried, you know, his hardest to turn it into a film, and he accomplished it. So it was great. We had a great time.
And obviously, I think many people might remember you best from Men in Black, even though that's hardly your most endearing role in a lot of ways. What do you have a positive associations with that part?
Oh yeah, I loved playing that part. I was able to invent that whole thing, and Sonnenfeld gave me so much freedom. Didn't ask any questions. Didn't want to talk about anything. Just wanted me to somehow get away with what I planned. It was he's a great director, Barry Sonnenfeld. I love him, and just his shots, designs, and stuff are amazing. Um, but yeah, no, it's that's like one of my favorite roles I've played.
Well, aside from season 2 of Daredevil Born Again, what else is coming up for you?
Well, Caught Stealing, a film I did with Darren Aronofsky and with Austin Butler. Liev Schreiber and I played brothers in it. That should be good. I'm looking forward to seeing that, having that be out there. What else? That's pretty much it. I've been busy doing all this for about a year or more, so I've only gotten one film in. Um, you know, when we stop shooting the second season, I've got a film lined up. Don't really want to talk about it at the moment, but it's a good film. It's going to be good.
Great. And what do you like to watch on TV? What have you seen recently that's really impressed you and stuck with you?
It's been some pretty good things. I'm waiting to watch Adolescence. I haven't watched that. I know that's really good. Um, I've been watching Mobland because I'm a Tom Hardy fan, so that's fun. Um, yeah, so right now that's what I'm doing. I have to, as soon as I finish, I don't like to watch too much stuff while I'm working, you know. So as soon as we finish shooting, I'll catch up on White Lotus and all the other great shows that are around right now. I really want to see Sinners at the movies, you know. Um, he's that guy's he's such a great director, and I love Michael B. Jordan's work, so it's a no-brainer for me to see that. I can't wait to, you know, when I'm finished, I can catch up on all this stuff, you know. It's better for me because it takes too much time to watch shows. We have so much. Charlie and I are just basically studying dialogue all the time, and or either that or learning the choreography of fights. And it's just like this job is a constant job, you know. So it takes a lot, but it's so fun.
So glad to hear. I can't wait for season 2. I appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to talk to me today.
Well, it was nice talking to you. I appreciate it.